This Week in Action.
And I'm not going out there by myself.
Could be something.
Talk to the developers.
Are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then
Too good to be true.
That's not what they did here. When's the money going?
what other horror stories could come of this?
We love Tencent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Action Podcast 51. 51. We are
51.
one away from 1 year. I don't know if you know the math, Guilty, but it's one away from a year.
One.
Got it.
He's got it.
Got
Everyone, I have a confession. I have been in a battle against an ever-growing sickness, and the sickness is winning. I am so sick of being sick, and I'm also sick of telling people that I'm sick. So they're like, dude, like, man, just get over it. I got Guilty in chat saying, dude, just drink whiskey. It'll kill it. It's not January anymore. I'm not going to drink
just make 'em
whiskey.
feel better.
I mean, I'm sure it would make me feel better.
Exactly.
It make you feel something.
That's sage advice.
I guess it is sage advice. You're fine. I'm sick too. I know. And the wife's like, I have a sore throat. If I get sick again, I'm just
Make your kids wash their hands, man.
She just
Also, sage advice from Hoser.
She just looks at me and is like, if I get sick again, I'm just gonna kill you. And then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So if I die,
then I have to take over the. No, don't. Not yet.
make your kids
Give us
wash your hands.
2
I
more
have
weeks.
4 kids at 3 different schools, and
All
every
coming
other
in
day there's
every
a
day.
freaking group of kids that just hey dad, I brought over a couple of friends off the bus, and I go upstairs and there's like 6 of them. It's like literally impossible. And then it's church and it's freaking gymnastics practice. What? Anyways,
You need to
Walker's
make
like,
one.
tell me how you make your kids wash their hands. Tell me.
You put one section of your house because it is rather impressive large. One section is the kids only area, and that's like quarantined off, right? So that
it's like, just leave me alone.
like,
On top of that,
Outbreak?
way back
when
there.
my kids get sick, oh, daddy, hold me, or they want to fall asleep on me, and I'm never going to be like, go away. 'Cause I consider myself a good papa. Anyways, I still sound very nasally, and luckily I have Daft and Guilty with me. Say hello, gentlemen.
How's it going this evening, peoples?
Hey, yo!
And we have another stellar show planned for you. We're going to talk some Last Epoch. We're going to talk some Superfuse. Maybe sprinkle in a little Wolcen in there. The usual suspects. So, this last weekend, really, it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. We had our first Last Epoch event. We were able to showcase some CT. I was able to get a character to level 78. By the way, that character's now 82, and I'm about to unlock empowered monos. And we are going to start with a discussion on Last Epoch. Guilty, what did you think? Do you have a good time or what?
I had a great time.
Great time.
I had a great time. Like, playing Last Epoch with friends is ridiculously fun. The banter we have between us when we're playing in chat, in VC it's funny because it's constantly talking crap. Yeah. We're having
I will
fun.
say that we are weirdly competitive. Like
in a wholesome way where it's not.
It's like I'll help you. It's like, no, like, I'm faster and better. You're not helping enough. Like,
It was a bit of that. It wasn't
some
so
of that.
competitive. There was a lot of stretching of the groups and splitting up, which was one of the things that came up as a problem. Splitting the group. Yeah.
We had the first day, Rich and I ran Primalist. He ran Beastmaster. I ran Druid. Aaron was running AI, and there's some of that fun we were having. And then he was running. What were you running?
The marksman.
That's right. You were running the marksman.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it was a good balance. Like the
Good
parties
balance.
played well together. I noticed.
Who was our fourth? Rich?
Rich.
Yeah, Rich was running the Beastmaster Primalist, and
Yeah,
he
we
and
had
I
two-
were like, having fun.
Yeah.
And the computer was having fun for Aaron with the AI for the minions, and
I'm sick of hearing this. I have to teleport, keep them all alive, cast Dread Shade on them, make zombies because they're temporary minions. I sure do more clicking than guilty. I don't care what anyone says. Managing a necromancer in endgame is harder than a damn werebear.
could a timer do it for you?
You literally leap making an earthquake. It's the only good werebear build.
I do. No, I was running Bleed Bear. Bleed Bear's back, and I did not use Earthquake.
That's because you didn't have the weapon, which I just found, by the way. I have a Baldur's Wrath.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You've got every
Also, what
weapon
I
already.
found today, just like a random drop, I was like, oh, a unique helmet. I wonder what this is. Herald of the Scurry, Zizarin's item,
Nice.
Not man.
has been found. That is actually a friggin' hard helmet to find, too. So,
What is it like considered the ultra rare or whatever?
no. There's only like,
It's not.
there's
Like what? 3 or 5?
There's common, rare, very rare, extremely rare. And there's only a
Yeah, but
couple extremely rare.
There's like Bastion's extremely rare.
I don't think Bastion's extremely
It can't
rare.
be. He's got like 6 of them in the last 5 hours, probably.
Might as well. Wait, what do I have 6
But
of?
they nerfed it before they started
Bastion.
throwing them out like that.
No,
Also,
I only
people
have
complain about it
one
being too
Bastion. I only have
Oh.
one.
You got to give that to Rich.
Seems like it.
See, even
Rich was
Denali has
there.
3 Bastions. I'll give it to Rich. I'm running Necro. I don't run Bash. It's just so fun to have. I still wear it. I have it right now. I do still have it. Anyways,
Was it like that big Flavor Flav clock on your chest?
it was a good time. And, like, oh, it was a dream come true. When you've been playing LE for, 3-4 years, when you put in 1,500 hours, when you build up a community, a lot of people joined because of Wolson and because of Last Epoch. And it does feel like weirdly surreal as an adult male playing this video game. It just feels like it was never going to happen. And I know it's still not, it's not March 9th yet, but it was fun. Like it was.
It did happen. This is the gateway drug to the couple months left. It's right around the corner right now.
Says he'd play Ellie right now if he could. Here's the thing.
Bert, you should try it. It might be back up. I think it's back up already. You guys should
It's
try
back
it.
up. Yeah.
It's back up.
Yeah. And on the second start, in a couple hours. 10
Passion
hours,
of Honor
whatever
is
they're-
very rare.
Very. But
Based
RNG
on the
doesn't
tools.
doesn't really care because you can pop something up. It's very rare.
Extremely
and not a
rare
lot
would
of
be
time.
like Orin's Eye. Like you check that. I think that's extremely rare. Anyways,
Right.
it really was. It was a fun experience. And
Yeah.
obviously we know that there was going to be bugs. They told us there was going to be bugs. At first,
Right. The beta.
Last Epoch was like, hey, for the first event, do whatever you want, but do whatever you want up to chapter 2.
Remember that?
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
they're
what
like, you can't go past.
I know.
Basically, it was
That
gonna
Like,
be,
oh,
so
you
how
get
do I
to
do this?
you get to
I'll
add
just
some
run
heart
everything.
Yeah.
and then
And
you're
you're
done.
done.
And then based upon community feedback, it's like, hey, everybody's seen the campaign. Like
Ziz did it.
a lot of people did it, so we need to see more.
Like live. He streamed it.
And they were farther ahead than they thought, and they said, fine, like whatever, we're going to open the floodgates, and there's going to be bugs, there's going to be problems, but the more bugs, the more problems, the more we could fix to make sure it's better for March 9th. And I do respect that. And I do feel bad that they've gotten some review bombs. Like that's,
We'll get to
I
that.
expect. Yeah, we'll get to that. But I
yeah.
expected it.
I know, but what a bad feeling. It's like, hey, the game is not out. The multiplayer's not out. Do you want to be a part of the test, which we know is going to have problems, which we hope that you find problems so that we can fix the problems. And then you're invited, you play, and then you say the game's like, that's
The
not
game's
good.
not released yet, so
Like, that
even
kinda
writing
sucks.
any review
I think
during
people
release,
saw it
is
as
not
like a
great.
pre-release, like this is ready to be going.
Yeah, like people need to view it as what it is. It is still in beta. So when you review it, you should review it as a beta. You don't know what the finished product will be. So don't like we can say what we currently think about it without leaving a permanent written document on Steam. Just to,
Right.
gain some ups with the community or some downs.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Bert, I know you're saying it doesn't work. Have you gone and signed up for the weekend event? Click on the
First
link.
10,000.
That might get you back in. I'm not sure though. Okay.
Yeah.
We are going over to, we're staying on the Last Epoch website. This is the multiplayer invitational follow-up. This is an official post from Kane, who I talk to almost daily. This is 1 day ago. Hello, travelers. This past weekend, we held our first multiplayer events, the Invitational, which went exceptionally well. The aim of this event was to gather feedback, test our live operation procedures, and give the community their first look at playing together with friends in Last Epoch. We were able to capture a ton of significant data and feedback to help us prepare for the multiplayer release of Last Epoch Convergence, on March 9th. From what we observed, many of the participants thoroughly enjoyed the new and updated campaign zones, all the VFX, SFX, and music changes, which was fantastic to hear. We also received a lot of positive feedback regarding the ease of grouping up, generally feeling great playing together for hours on end outside of a few minor bugs. We're on them.
I'd say minor. Yeah.
I sometimes grouping up.
We played
Sometimes
5
grouping up
hours
was
straight.
tough. Yeah.
We played 5 hours straight and we had 2 issues that were easily solved.
For sure. Some issues that we are aware of and have been actively working on did rear their heads during this event, such as server-side performance in endgame activities and specific late-game team strategies that were providing too great of a bonus for the group. While we were aware of these kind of things from the event, we were able to get a better view of where these impacts are coming from and have made some adjustments to our priorities and have already made some changes to the next events. We want to go over this feedback with you. Okay. So, a couple of things that, I'll honestly just say it. Lizard was the one that I heard in my chat while I was streaming. Notice this. If you are playing with 4 people and we're going through the monolith and we complete the monolith and we kill the boss, well, now Guilty can challenge the boss. And then Daft can challenge the boss. And then Rich could challenge the boss.
Yeah. Oh, each of us can go through the gate? And you can follow or what?
It only resets the monolith's progression for the person that clicks on the quest.
Oh, that's going to change. Maybe. That might not change.
So if we were fighting the Emperor of Corpses and we were looking for a staff, okay?
4 shots.
I would, if I was playing single player, I'd kill the Emperor of Corpses. The monolith would reset. I have 1 chance to get the item. Okay. If I'm playing with 4 people, we can trade, which means I have 4 chances to get it. But it's 4 chances times 4. So multiplayer is giving you 16 opportunities to get the item, where single player is giving you 1.
Not a problem.
I was like, ooh, I like that. That sounds
you know how they can fix that, to be honest? Random hookup. Like put a tumbler in there or what's it called? A grinder. Put a grinder app and have people meet up in grinder.
And then they won't play the game because they'll be too busy doing other things. Perfect. I like
perfect idea.
Great idea. The other thing, and this is something that we'll touch on because there's some paragraphs we'll go through, is that the servers weren't ready for, let's say, me, Daft, and Guilty, and Rich all are in the monolith in the center. And I go top right, and Daft goes bottom left, and everybody goes to a certain corner because we're building up our stability bar faster. Well, that's activating more enemies and terrain and things blowing up
everywhere.
Yeah. Because it really is like a weird conundrum that I don't know how they fix. Yes, playing as a party is more beneficial, but playing not next to somebody is actually even more beneficial. So you're in a party but it's actually better to not be around anybody.
Yeah, spread out and nail more of the area. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which wrecked the
Which
map
wrecked
or the server. Yeah.
Wrecked the server.
Yeah.
So
They anticipate having everybody everywhere and all the activity on the map at everywhere, any given point. So
Well, that's why they do a test, which is what we did.
but it's
Yeah,
hard, right?
exactly.
Because how do you not incentivize party play? Right? I mean, I don't know. Like, is it
So that's the thing. They clearly are balancing the game for synergies and party play. That's clearly what they're doing.
and this was step one
That's it.
in figuring out some of the problems with a full, groups of players playing, not just the CT players who were kind of focused maybe a little more. It was everybody just doing their own thing. So
It's so clear that they specifically said they can't wait to see the synergies we come up with.
But that's what you're saying. The synergies mean nothing. If I'm using Dreadshade, it's not buffing Daft, who's in the top left corner while I'm in the top right corner.
Well,
I think what they're saying is they want to see those synergies, but it's like
in
you guys,
a boss fight, that's not the case though.
True.
Yeah, I mean, Walker brings up a point. The only thing they're going to do is reduce drop rates for the bosses, but then that screws over the solo player, which means could they reduce the drop rate for a multiplayer
So
and
that's the
not a
thing.
solo player?
I mentioned this before. You can't do one without gimping the other. You can't handicap one.
Yeah.
And if you without making people not play it because they're handicapped, because it's better to go to the other one. That's just how economics works. People will find out that they're getting gimped and they'll go to the thing that gives them the thing they want.
Right now, it is 16 times more profitable to be in a group. So even
Play
if
in a
they
group, there you
even
go.
if they cut that in half, even if they cut that in a fourth, like it's still going to be I don't know how. I mean, party play is just so beneficial. It's faster. And then we're fighting the boss. I die.
And not an issue.
So I'm fighting the Emperor corpses. I'm dead. Well, now I got to try it over again. I'm in a party. I'm dead. I just come back in. Like there's just so many benefits to it. Lady Medusa says they weren't ready for Canada or Australia. Ping, 313.
Ouch. Mine was like 30 to 40 the whole time I played.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Lady Medusa.
Yep. Oops.
Ugh. Oh.
Although, Rich and I are in the same time zone. So, and I don't think either of us had an issue with ping.
So let's go down. Let's talk about some stuff. Daft, why don't you take the first paragraph? What we're working on server side perform. You don't have to read the whole thing, but you could just kind of.
I'll go through it. All right. So the server side stuff we got. One of the last things we saw during the event, but one of the first things we want to address is some late game activities, server side performance. While participants agreed that the client side performance has improved significantly with this release, we did encounter some issues with the server performance for endgame builds that can spawn lots of objects. So when we addressed remember the old summoner, we had tons of wraiths, and imagine if you had that old wraith build now.
Well, the old wraith build you could make over 100.
I know.
You could make 100.
Imagine three people with 300 wraiths, and not to mention, so that's a foreseeable problem. They knew it was going to happen. They'd been working on it for a while, for the last year at least, directly with the wraiths.
That we're aware
I don't know.
of.
Yeah, that we're aware of. So that's one I did see come
So
up.
look at the start of the second paragraph. One of the largest offenders were able to identify was the server lag encountered when groups would split up in an area to tackle it.
Yeah, and that was probably, we started doing that right away, I think. Unintentionally. I think you were running off ahead of us. Everybody was, and the way you can only zone in one at a time kind of encourages that behavior, because Air would get in because you started the map, and then you take off running. Whoever clicked it next got in. And so we'd all be running different directions. I was usually opening up the map and going, where is anybody? And I would just follow corpses, or loot. That was it.
Yeah,
That's the only way I could find you.
There is Denali had something to say about what Aaron and I were just speaking about. Says even if soloing is 1/115th as lucrative as party play, assuming it's still viable, people will still do it because people who solo want to be alone. They don't care. That assuming it's still viable thing, it's a good caveat to have in there. You also continued, I think in groups, bosses should be 4 times harder. Drop rates for loot and whatnot, but still a chance like solo play. It is more difficult with the more people you have in your group. Per like Grim Dawn and pretty much any other.
When you have 4 players in an area, it boosts boosts enemy health by 280%. So that's what it is.
Yeah, so
280% buff to the enemies.
So to continue the last paragraph, another offender we had was with lag, but not performance. It was basically they were experiencing lag. We're actually being assigned to incorrect servers. So if Lady Medusa logs in. She's supposed to be on the east. She's logging in over in Canada. So that caused some issues. So they had apparently misplaced people within the servers. Something they'll want to address.
Yeah, they'll fix that.
They'll fix that. So
like Rich is in the eastern portion of Canada with me being on the eastern portion of the United States. And
yeah.
Neither one of us had in any of the times we played together issues really.
Yep.
That were bad. And also I'm playing with someone on the opposite side of the country. So
yeah, we're all over the place. But it worked. I mean, that's ideally what we want to do is test the stability in that sense.
I don't know how they fix boss drops because this is before the event. I remember hitting you guys up saying, hey, I'm at the Emperor of Corpses. Will you guys log in? Because I want a better chance of this item dropping in the best possible version. Like it was already in my head that it just made sense that I'm going to kill the boss. And since we can item share, I'm going to get 4 times the chance, right? I mean, other than making it harder, I don't know what you do. Because there's no way it's like a shared loot. There's no way.
So, Lady Medusa says to play with people across the pond. They were holding on for dear life. Rich says they updated it.
I mean, it's what we were expecting. They right away got to work Monday after, or even Sunday probably, because what was it, 9 o'clock for me or 10 o'clock that they took away the game for most people. But,
they just took it. They didn't even ask.
They just said, mine for 3 days. We'll give it back.
Yeah, those 3 days were so impactful.
So impactful.
LE client updated, but I still can't play.
Yeah, I updated today. It will go live on the 2nd, but what time? It's like usually like 1 p.m. sometime. Right. I think it might be EST 1 p.m. It might be like, 11, 12, something, whatever.
Rich, in chat, you said they updated it. What did they update? Are you talking about being able to kill the boss 4 times with a party of 4? Are you talking about the boss drops? Which one
are you talking about? The game in general?
I don't know. I mean, I know a 1.5 gigabyte
game
update
updated.
just went through, so, but I didn't take the time.
Yeah.
I probably should have taken the time to read it.
Maybe.
There's a patch. There's a
Guilty.
Patch.
Second paragraph. Gameplay is you, sir.
Gameplay. All right. Of course, there was a lot of gameplay experience feedback provided that we were acting on as well. For the next event, we're prioritizing some of the quickest improvements we can get in time. Some adjustments are technically smaller things like adjusting the latency bar to represent expectations with ping values better. There you go, Lady Medusa. And adding server information to the latency tooltip. However, this can have a much larger impact on user experience and received more feedback than we expected. As such, we're working on adding these 2 items in by this Thursday. That's actually pretty good news,
right?
Because that was mainly what people were like she said, when you're playing with people from the UK or Australia or New Zealand. One of the more common areas of feedback we received during the event was that the campaign was made a bit too easy when in a full party. I kind of did notice that.
I mean,
but the campaign's always easy.
Solo.
So here's the thing. I typically would be the guy to be like, oh, let's just do what they ask. I said, hey, let's veer left and just go into the end game, because it was just us walking through. And while I do acknowledge that campaign ARPG is an instructional part of the game, maybe make it a bit harder. It seems like they're going to. In response to this, we're going to be bumping up enemy health scaling for the next event. They're going to be harder to kill. When doing this in smaller increments, so we don't overcorrect, as many of these players have highly experienced. Many of these players are highly experienced players, but will be continuing to monitor feedback and adjusting as well. What they're saying is that typically you would multiply by double and then divide, define, and you keep on doing it until you find a sweet spot. They're not going to do that. That's what they just said. We also heard from participants that they really enjoyed the new online monolith experience with seamless transitions between echoes and echo of a world, the rest of the area, and monoliths. For the campaign, though, the length of some of the loading screens times was a common topic. We had some adjustments already in the pipeline to help reduce these loading screens, which we're hoping to have for this Thursday's 10K event. Something we've done ourselves is you put in a minimum time for loading, and sometimes the game loads before that minimum time is corrected. They could have done the same thing. It is common. And removing it would be good. So remove it.
That would be good. Listen to this. Rich and Zakar have given me an update. You guys ready for this?
Yeah. What's up?
Go for it.
So let's say I'm fighting and I'm playing and I'm having a good time. And just like the other day, I'm like, daft and guilty. I'm at the Emperor of Corpses. Jump in the game so we could fight him, so I have a better chance of getting it.
We've tried this, but yeah.
You cannot fight the boss unless your bar is full. I think that's what Rich just said. You need to have the points for the boss to... Oh, no. You need to have the points for the boss to get the drops.
So you have to actually do damage to the boss.
You can... No. So you guys could jump in. Sorry.
Yeah,
you guys could jump in to help me fight it, but you ain't going to get the reward.
Right.
And if you do have the bar filled, you get the reward, but then your bar goes down to 0.
I mean,
I was all over the map. Anybody could fight the boss. I could bring you in, but you will not get a reward unless your stability bar matches what is needed to fight the boss.
Right.
And if you get that boss drop, that eats your bar.
Right. Well, I mean, for fairness, it probably should. So you're not going to get the 16 times.
Which means that if you were in a party,
which will get 4,
you'd still get 4 times. You'd still get 4 times the boss drop. But that's still way better.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I mean,
I wish they did it the other way so we could have 16 times so I can hear people complain. Fills me with power.
That's 16 times is
16 times.
That's a lot of chances.
Thank you, Todd Howard. 16 times. Thank you.
16.
But but that is an interesting band-aid. It's like, okay, listen, obviously party's 100 times better. Party's not supposed to be 100 times better. We said that a synergized party would be the best. Then solo, then unsynergized would be the worst. Right. Unsynergized is 16 times better than solo.
16 times.
How are we going to fix this? I mean, that makes sense. So basically, I mean, but that does make sense. So the party needs to go through the monolith together to reach the boss, because obviously you'd share the same stability, or I would have to go through it, then Daft would have to go through it, then Guilty would have to go through it, then Rich would have to go through it, and now we're all at the boss, and then we could team up and go through.
The staff, it's a wand. What do you want?
So this has always been my idea. I don't know if this is crazy, but it's like I go through the monolith and I get to the point where the boss is unlocked. And then I go to the next island and I get to the point where the boss is unlocked, and I get to the next island and I've gone through all 10 monos and all of them are ready for the boss fight. And then and then I tell Guilty, hey, can you get on Thursday to ensure that all your bosses are unlocked. Daft, can you make it on Thursday that all your bosses are unlocked? Rich, can you make it on Thursday that all your bosses are unlocked? And then we just bounce mono to mono.
Doing bosses.
Doing boss runs. We kill all 10. We have a 4x chance of getting better items. We trade the items amongst each other because we can legally do that because we are in the same zone.
That sounds like a really fun night.
Now, what if they say, though, you can't trade boss drops? Ooh, that would kill it.
Then I would have to be like, Mike, listen here, Mike. Listen here, Judd. Just stop. Don't. But they won't do that. They won't go that far.
No, they won't. Not at all.
I think they should be encouraging boss trading. Maybe not selling, but trading. Like,
But I mean, they could easily fix that. They say, hey, a boss drop is different than just like going through a zone. Like, sorry, boss drops are non-tradable. Item giftable. Sorry.
They could also be like, oh, sorry, you had to pay $1.25 to ride on this road.
Would that be an MTX tax?
Yeah, like, if you had to buy MTX to do trades, that would be terrible.
That would be. They would never.
Oh, don't listen to me, game companies. Don't listen to me. I was lying. It's not a good idea.
There's a game that does that.
No, there's a. What game does do that?
Did Lost Ark do that? No.
No.
Lost Ark did do that. Kind of. You had to have a certain currency to be able to put something into the house to trade it or to put it for sale.
I don't think PoE does it either, E-Way. Not to the extent I was saying, like, you'd have to pay to be able to sell it, but maybe
they are more than likely to divvy up the boss drops among the party. But see, that also wouldn't be fair because each of us grinded to get there, right? So if each of us grinded to get there, we should be able to get the reward.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. This was their first
the premium
endeavor,
tab for trading, but you buy it once. But yeah, it's still, but it's a free game. So I give PoE a really weird pass, like a really weird pass.
What?
Because I know that I spent a lot of money in PoE, but it's also free. But for some reason, I give it a pass, and I don't quite understand why. Is that Stockholm syndrome?
It doesn't feel horrible. Only some people are really upset about the tabs you can get. The tabs is always the the point people bring up. Well, that's you're helping yourself. You have tabs. That's paying.
I got the tabs.
I mean, that's just tabs.
I bought wings too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know how many times I've put up feedback to EHG. Please, you could put anything you want in the game. Don't put wings. Anything.
Wings?
Big back
I'm
piece
sure they'll have
wings. Please.
For the
I have to write a rebuttal, please, because he does not want the wings. Put them in.
No,
you could put them on
wings.
The Acolyte, some like Wraith type wings.
Hey, by the way,
I wouldn't use them personally, but people like them.
If you don't know, Judd, the game creator, really loves Meteor. It's one of his staple skills that he likes across all games. And
It's a fun skill.
And it just so happens that there's a new unique belt that casts Meteor when you crit.
On everything.
And there's a new affix. There's a new affix for area of effect.
Area effect.
I wonder what skill that was gonna buff.
So Boardman released a video today, Boardman 21, and that's pretty much what he highlighted.
He said my auto bomber build is gonna have Meteor coming to it. It's pretty funny.
Denali, I'm not anti-wings.
Why everyone's
I'm not anti. I have wings and I use wings.
Guilty. He uses them.
I don't want wings because it is a Diablo MTX ploy. I don't want wings. And then in Torchlight, you have these.
It's a Diablo reward for doing the season.
Dude, it's really weird. In Torchlight, they have the back pieces, but the back piece is like 2 inches off your character. So it's really like this floating back. I can't even describe it. If anyone's played Torchlight, you probably know what I'm talking about. Get out of here, Walker, with those.
Walker anyway. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I'll rather take like Doc Ock's like arms or something.
That's wings. That's just like wings without the fabric
those
in
are
between.
Arms.
There's no foreskin in between those arms.
more of a cloak's back
I
character.
don't know why I
than
talk to you guys.
wings.
I think about it all the time. Last but not least, itemization. Another common topic of feedback. This is something that was driving us crazy. Was the item gifting and user experience. While the feedback noted that the interaction felt really good with gifting, it was strong addition to gameplay. Currently, once you gift an item to a party member, that item cannot be gifted again. So, I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
It's dead. It's dead.
Is that before you put it on or just when you receive it?
Once it is gifted,
it lost the tag.
So, for example, like I was part of Vision's Holy Grail Challenge, and I was playing with people, you guys, and it'd be like, give me your uniques. I got to have as many as possible. That's the whole point. Someone would gift me a unique, and then I'd say I already have it. And they're like, oh, I need it. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, I have it now. 2 of them.
Now I have 2 of them, and I'm just going to sell the one you gave. And I'm sorry.
Rich, whoever was like first in CT won and actually played. Because that's all you had to do.
Like
just
whoever started, there was no like real rules.
There's no time frame.
It's like, this is Thunderdome. Tina Turner was running this.
Let's continue. Where was it? Item can't be gifted. Being unable to gift it further caused a couple of negative experiences during the event. So in response, we're changing so that when an item is gifted, it retains its giftability status and can still be gifted to the same people who was eligible for it. While this does offer a bit of more power to the gifting system, we want to prioritize the fun experience.
Power?
Okay.
That's a little overstated.
No, this is way bigger than people realize. Okay, let me explain.
I see where you're going with this. Yes.
Why it is so important that Guilty can give me an item and I could give it back to him whenever I want. Well, Guilty could give me an item and I could turn it into a legendary.
And then get it back.
And then I could give it back to you. Guilty could give me an item and I could do a full craft on it because I have all the affix shards and I'm a good crafter, and then I could give it back to him.
Easily just put it, if crafted it, you lose the tag.
That's what I was about to say.
But that's not how the system is.
Removes tags.
But that's not how
it is.
No. Right now, if us 3 are playing and an item drops and I put it into the forge and I craft it, I could still send it to you guys. Right now, that's the current system.
Right. I'm saying they could easily say, if crafted, then the item's yours.
That's literally 1 bullion away from saying no to everything he just said.
It would have to be once an item is gifted once and then it is crafted, it is no longer tradable. No way, they're not going to do that.
It would take 1 line of code and a bullion.
No.
Easy fix.
Blah.
If this is a checkbox that says checky check, no Aaron.
Yeah. They could fix it. They could fix that.
I really like that decision. And this like shows, right? It's like, we're not getting trade. We're only having item gifting. And I keep telling people like, the jury's not out on that. Like there still might pivot before 1.0. This is a perfect example. It was a negative experience and they pivoted. I like that.
I figured this. I'm figuring still, it hasn't changed, but the gifting thing is just just the beginnings, just to get it up, people to be quiet, which didn't work that way because people got all loudmouth because like, what? Trade's dead. And there was like 85,000 videos on YouTube the next day. Trade's dead.
It brings us into the review bomb.
Wait, let me finish this. I don't know what the rest of this says. I don't remember. Many keen-eyed community members also called out that there seems to be something up with the item drop rates during the event, and that some things appeared a little more common than normal. They are correct.
Bastion.
In respect, I did find a Bastion of Honor and a Herald of the Scurry pretty quickly. In response to feedback from both previous blog post and event feedback, we're adjusting some drop rates. In particular, this means that making rarer idols such as Smite or Throwing Hit not as rare, culling some of the lower level drops, converting them into crafting material drops, and adjusting the distribution of exalted items to make drops more exciting. rather than all the focus being on the Echo Rewards nodes. We're continuing to tweak this to reach an even better state in the looting and gearing experience in Last Epoch, and we are actively watching for feedback on this topic. Now, the only thing that makes me a little nervous about this is that if they are already adjusting drop rates to make stuff drop more, that makes me think they're not leaning towards putting in a trading system for 1.0. It's like, hey, we are going to expand item gifting so you could trade things back and forth freely. We are going to adjust drop rates so that more stuff drops and it drops earlier. We're going to make it where you can get 4 times the rewards when you go through boss monos. Why do you need trading?
This might fix their trading issue since they don't want to have a trade house. They don't want to have an auction house, apparently. They're really keen on just the group trading for whatever reason. But what if you just posted in like world chat, I've got this item, and someone could meet you and you could trade that way. Instead of just limiting it to the 4 people you ran with, just one-on-one connection, no trade house. I know they'd be like, well, then they'll start selling stuff on the third market like PoE. And that I tell them to mind their own business and stop trying to control everything.
Raven Crow says, because trade equals a live game and fun. No, of course I still want trade. Like, I agree. Bring on the 2025 LP5 Power Creep League.
Power Creep League.
Ooh. Last paragraph. So funny. If I just like looked through this, all of our questions would have been answered. We also see the efficiency of boss farming and multiplayer talked about frequently. We currently have an active plan to bring this in line that we're working on implementing. When you participate in a monolith boss fight in multiplayer, in order to get the rewards, you will need to have the sufficient stability for the fight. And receiving rewards from the fight will cost your stability. So while you can participate in the boss fight, in order to get the rewards, you need to have and spend the stability for it. I'm curious if this will be like a, do you want to spend your stability checkbox, or if you have the stability and you enter, it automatically puts.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the said item and you just want to go, I would hope they'd give you some way to, decline or
like, am I going in to only help my friend, or am I going in to get the reward? This means that you won't be able to farm stability once as a group. Dang it. Then chain the bosses with each party member. Dang it. While this change won't be in place until Thursday's event. Dude, we should just chain.
Kneecapping the fun at every chance. Just, there's the fun. Let's hit it in the kneecap with a baseball bat.
Hey, this isn't in until tomorrow. We should do play tonight. I'm at the boss right now to unlock Empowered. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding, though. I am at the boss.
I'm not close enough.
We wanted to acknowledge that we do hear this feedback and we're actively working on it. There are, of course, many other things we're working on. Blah, 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 blah. If you haven't signed up for the event, here is the link.
Right there.
There is the link.
So if you go to the page or go to the our Discord, it's just in the LE scroll.
I'm going to put it in the chat. They can find this exact thing in our chats.
Welcome
Here you
to
guys
Last
go.
Epoch Events Registration Portal.
Enjoy.
Come join the Discord right there if you want.
All right, what did Denali say? Give everyone a bastion. It's like Oprah. You get a bastion.
It's like Oprah. You get a bastion.
Everybody wants trade. Not having trade will be the one point mentioned by every single person that criticizes it.
Like, the people who don't want trade seem to be the ones complaining the most about trade.
I don't really
it's gonna
care
be easier
about trade,
for them. Right?
personally.
Well, yeah, but you're also not complaining.
I'm not
about
complaining about. Yeah, it's like
You're
whatever
not
you guys do.
diametrically opposed to it like some people.
No.
I will say,
And you've already traded with me. What are you talking about? You have taken part.
no, that's item gifting. I will say that I swear in the
It's same
CT,
thing.
Dragonflame Edict Staff is not in it. Because we killed it 3 times, and that's 12 times. Then I killed it by myself. 13 times it didn't drop. It's supposed to be 50% drop rate.
It's supposed to be, but not for you.
I know. What's going on?
I don't know.
Last Epoch Steam. I didn't spell that right. That works.
Spelling.
Okay. So we now get the opportunity, the joy of reading recent reviews for Last Epoch. And we know that everyone on the internet is joyous, nice people.
Yeah, they should be.
So
this
But look at the
party
numbers.
play
Right
change sounds like just no fun allowed. It makes game have less to do. Nothing positive comes out of it. This is Ravencrow 7. It is fun. I am critiquing some of the things where they decided. So there's this thing called MDA, mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetic. The aesthetic is the combination of the two. The aesthetic is the feeling the player gets from using the rules, which are the mechanics. The dynamics are how they use the rules. When a developer tries to design something to make the dynamic like a fixture instead of a rule set that people use, that's where I call them they're handicapping, or they're gimping, or they're preventing fun. And if you just let the player make their own decisions and don't try to like engineer what the dynamic will be and just do the mechanics, you'll have PoE style fun. You'll have a community that built itself essentially because you have a set of mechanics you can use at your own will. It would be great if maybe they didn't over-engineer everything.
not happening.
Yeah, I know.
Ravencrow.
Yeah, Go ahead.
I get what you're saying. More rewards are more fun. Playing with friends and being able to fight more bosses is more fun. But I will say there is something to be said about, you know, a system being broken and something needing to be reeled in a little bit. Playing as a party, you are still going to have technically 4 times the drop rates, since you could trade amongst each other to get the item you're looking for, compared to 16 times.
Right.
So, you know, obviously,
Same thing.
I want to get everything, right? But I mean, in this instance, I mean, like literally when I was streaming on Saturday and I heard this, I was like, oh, that's really broken. And Steve was in chat and he's like, oh yeah, we're aware of this. And I'm like, okay.
Yes.
So of course we took advantage of it that
Of course.
Saturday.
Or did.
So
Any chance they have to let me have more fun, I'm going to take it.
Right.
What do some of these reviews say from people that are playing for like 40 hours, 20
okay.
hours,
So wait,
15 hours,
but
8 hours?
what I like though is we have like nearly 13,000 very positives. And that's everybody up to this point. And then this 183 group, the mixed, that's like
It's 60
everybody
something
from-
percent of them is positive though.
Okay,
It's only like
yeah,
yeah.
let's just say round
the
up
majority.
13,000 reviews, 85% solid B, and that is
Yeah.
obviously for an indie early access game. And then the
Mhm.
last 200 are giving it
literally the
a
weekend.
D, almost a D minus.
Well, the 64% are actually giving it a thumbs up.
Yes.
It's the 36%.
30. Yeah.
That vocal minority yet again making that thing turn to the mixed.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's the first time I heard a lot of complaints in Discord, at least just from chatting and stuff of just stuff that, well, I'm like, yeah, that's why we're doing it. This is not perfect right now. There was some of it you could say, you know, yeah, that's legit. There are
Look
some
at that
things,
guy.
but
Look at
yeah.
that guy right there on the screen. That guy right there.
Who's this guy?
Oh,
wow.
Oh, they can't see you.
No, but that's just your scroll.
Hold on.
I
There's your
typically-
face.
I typically don't review early access games because they're not released yet, but I didn't like the fact that people were going in there with
I
nonsense
did a review on this,
on a
Aaron,
game
but
that's not
it's-
released yet.
It was a long. I think I did mine like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So
Oh,
relative
guilty.
is.
That was nice. I didn't even know you were there. Okay. Let's see what the person that's played for 13 hours
Yeah,
has
it's
to say.
13.6 hours.
I mean, it's kind of fun, but the developers are going back on promises all the time. They don't really seem to care. So buy at your own risk. It's
What?
not bad, but it is not great either, and I fear it will never be great.
That
Grim Reaper with his-
13.6 hours
Yeah.
of gameplay. You've
Is
been
this our-
with them from the beginning.
Is this
We'll
our
see what-
Grim Reaper?
It's a common name. I don't think so.
I doubt it.
It could be, but
I literally almost just clicked off your guys' videos to check.
the
but-
thing that's gonna hurt like games that are in this state is they're getting sandwiched in with a bunch of other, ARPG Life. There's like a new game out every month or every 2 months, and when your time comes, if the last game that most people are playing is polished, and then they go to a game that's not polished and still working on, they're going to review bomb it because they're not using practicality. They're just going, well, it wasn't like my last experience where everything was perfect or was very keen to things I always like. So I think that this whole review thing at this point is going to be awkward for Last Epoch.
Yeah, it's
You're going up against finished games like
they
a week after everybody's stoked on that game.
do allow you to filter reviews by hours played, and that's good on them.
Yeah.
But like when you got 13.6 hours in this game and you're going to talk about something that's been in development for 5 years from something that they said from the beginning, as if
Right. It's a little
no credibility.
sketch.
Well,
but,
let's go down. I'm sure they're gonna get
is what it is.
better. Okay. Takes away the only thing that player base cares about, DOA. DOA stands for, do you know, Guilty?
Dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival. That is correct. He's got 156 hours in.
It hasn't arrived yet, though.
That's
So that's
donuts,
why
orange juice, and
writing the
apples.
negative review is dumb because it hasn't arrived yet. It's not officially released.
Weary, good game. I love it. Good drop rates for loot, graphics. I don't care. I just love steamrolling on tons of mobs with chaos on the screen, exploding left and right. Bear for the win.
There you go.
Did you write that one too? Tell me the truth.
No.
You did. Who is this? Somehow that's
It's only
you.
got 22.7 hours.
Much more
Still
friendly,
right.
much more solo self-found friendly ARPG. PoE has things to learn from this game.
Well, there you go. So
These ones are-
PoE player,
these
but
ones
they
are-
probably don't like it. Yeah.
I don't like long reviews. Who can read all this?
I like the ones
I like
that
the
have
funny
points.
ones. Yeah.
funny ones
the
are
ones
good
that
too.
Mark's funny are great.
Yeah.
Do not
Like my
purchase this game. The devs care only about streamers.
Crap. 15.4 hours. Get a job.
Not backers, not players, not early supporters, only streamers. Extremely poor form. I wish I could refund. Psh, streamers, forget them.
Maybe you should just play the game and enjoy it. You've played
Yeah.
it enough. You haven't even got through the campaign, homeboy.
I mean, yes, he has in 15 hours, maybe. Great
No.
character, great
First time
character
player? No.
customization, and you could understand it without a step-by-step guide. I agree.
True.
Okay, fine. Here you go. This one's for you. Guilty.
Hunter Devil says streamer loot confirmed.
Look at this. Look at this stupid review. Jeez.
Which one?
Some
Oh,
weird
what?
guy named Guilty wrote it, who's got roses on his face.
Oh yeah. That guy's awesome
That's-
though.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You see my 1980s.
Honestly, looking
Thing.
at you on the screen live and here making me feel twice as sick. That's my honest. That would be the review that I would put.
That
here.
was my plan when I did this earlier. I'm like, he's gonna read this and he'll see this.
All right,
It'll
all right,
make him
all right.
sick.
Last review, and then we're moving on to the next game. Don't let the recent negative reviews turn you away from this wonderful game. A small but loud percentage of Last Epoch's player base is upset the devs made the decision to get rid of the planned trading and multiplayer economy system. Personally, I think this was the right choice. If someone wants to farm for ages and then sell what they find for a profit, or if someone wants to buy cool gear instead of working for it, they should go play an MMO. I loved every bit of this game that I've played. The skill trees are amazing, and I love just looking at them and planning builds for ages. I've been holding off
Good
from
builds.
completing more of it until the final release, I really want to try the unreleased mastery classes that'll be available once the game is out of early access, but I'd highly recommend this to any PoE, Torchlight, or Grim Dawn fan, and especially to those disappointed by Wolcen Lords of Man. This is the...
yeah.
I mean, this person must be part of our community. It's literally like...
it is verbatim.
And
it's like a Bible we have written without writing it.
And I'm surprised the first person to mention the missing parts of the game, like the masteries, was a positive. I expected more of the, and the game's not even finished. Half the classes aren't even in the game. Bah, bah, bah.
I mentioned that too. I'm saying I can't wait until they come out.
I know. Yeah. But the first time that we saw it here, it was a positive. I'm looking forward to what they have coming up, as opposed to get your job done.
We acknowledge it's early access and not a release title.
Warlock,
And at
Falconeer,
any
and
moment-
Rune Master are gonna be fire. That's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be better built than the current Rogue, right? Because the Rogue was the last class. You could feel that it's newer and stronger.
Oh, definitely.
And those
I've leveled the Rogue we played last week, and now I'm doing the melee version with the detonating arrow.
Yeah, you got the
Interesting.
item.
Yeah, doing that. Completely different playthrough, same character. And the way this works, you're picking the wrong mastery because you're gonna be dual wielding, but you're picking marksman. So it's really crazy when you actually try to build the character. So props to them for that kind of madness.
To put it in perspective, Daft has you have over 3,000 hours between both server, Steam and their own server.
Their own client,
and he just found something he's not done.
Well,
it's true.
It's something
New
he hasn't
item,
done
but-
because of a new item.
Yeah, that doesn't
But
still count.
a good thing, It's
Hey,
they're bringing
Raven,
some craziness into it.
Raven Crow, I just want to be clear that them saying to backers and Kickstarters that this game will have a full player-driven economy trade and then going back on that is not okay. Like, I don't think that that's good.
But
I don't think
No,
that
not
that
at all.
yet. The fat lady
Yeah.
ain't sang yet.
So I just want to be clear that I want trade
I do too,
in the game.
but I just
I don't. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want PoE's level of trade, which some people
that wouldn't
do.
be bad.
I'm
That
just
wouldn't be
saying, like,
bad. It's better than not having any trade.
give me a Torchlight Infinite Trade House. Done. Take that.
I don't see the difference between the two, honestly, because you could still buy whatever you want. PoE's thing, you have to go through a secondary service to find them.
Right,
Are you really
conveniently,
going to
at
try
least.
and argue that Torchlight Infinite's Trade House is the same as PoE? PoE, you have
No,
to.
it's easier.
No, it's
You
not.
just go directly through there in the game instead of having to go to a third-party website. Like, I want this. Oh, this guy's got this. Let me whisper to him. Oh, he is not. He's AFK.
That's what I'm saying. Torchlights.
Yeah.
I like the Torchlight. It's like, oh, that's the item. That's the price. I'll take it.
So they
Yes.
just streamlined it and removed the nonsense.
Right. I never used the Torchlight one, but I did see you guys using it, so it seemed okay.
I looked at it. I was never knowing what I wanted because I was finding the
Right.
stuff I wanted for where I was at. Like, I mean, I'm sure I would want something when I'm pushing late end game.
I
I'm
think
so
just be
curious. I'm always so curious. What would be the chaos? What would be the flame elementium of last Epoch if it was just I'm gonna guess Glyph of Despair or
I would say the affix, yes, certain affixes that are like flavor of the month affix because they buffed a skill or any of the beamy affixes might be useful, like despair and any of those. That could be a currency that people, I don't know, are they trading affixes? Do we know?
no.
It's an item.
They want
It is.
to have affix trading.
He got him at a gotcha with that.
I know, but I don't. Again, it's
What else is it? They have gold.
hey, Daft, an item fell. Oh, damn it, I don't have hybrid health. Okay, send it to me. I'll craft it for you and I'll send it back.
The hope and chaos would be good currencies for this.
Yes, Rune of
Yeah.
Creation. That's
Yeah.
the LE
Yeah, that's
mirror.
yeah.
Right.
Mwah.
Right.
That's the mirror. I already found one.
Yeah, I think I did.
And a
I got
Bastion.
2, I
Okay,
think.
we're starting to look at the streamer drop rate here.
And the Herald of the Scurry.
Mm.
Weird using
Yeah.
affixes as currency. Normally, crafting materials is the currency. Think about what a
Right.
Chaos does. Think about what Flame Elementium does. Like,
Divine.
you know,
When you think of Path of Exile, you think of like when I played a lot of Path of Exile, I didn't do very little trading at all, and it was always just solo self-found. So the currency aspect didn't exist for me. They were just things that I crafted with. So, it depends on the player on how that works. I'm sure that Aaron, Master Trader, probably did a lot of that.
I
know a lot of people in
trading.
It's a good part of PoE, man.
I just
That's-
built a
yeah.
build in Torchlight, and it cost me about 250 FE to make, and then I didn't like the build, so I sold all the stuff that I bought, and I got 325 back. So it's like I profited 75 while testing a build. Anyways, I really like that.
Yeah, for me, I just don't have time for currency. Watching what's worth what, I know, because it changes from either league or cycle, whatever, to cycle.
Whatever
Yeah.
they call it and which game it is.
Well, Torchlight,
Um,
I know we're not talking about Torchlight, but me and Wrath talk about Torchlight a lot, and he's like, dude, I never know what's worth what because there's 500 affixes and different rarities, and I never
It's
know
like
what
60,
anything
right.
sells for. So that is
Right.
a game where like you legitimately have an advantage if you are knowledgeable. Like if you just have
Yeah.
simple knowledge of like, oh, this is very undervalued, and if I buy it, I can resell it. And I've probably been taxed over 100. Dude, the other day I sold something for 1 FE and it
So-
gave me 0. I got 0.
What you're saying is that a game like Torchlight it's beneficial to rock a spreadsheet and read some Sal.
Well, I will
Gotcha.
say there is people on the forums and people that I know of that were like, when Last Epoch launches trade, I am going to purchase every tier 7 movement speed boots. If it's on there, I am going to buy them.
God.
Because no
mean-
one's going to know how rare that is. Every hybrid health that's tier 7, I am going to buy it, right? Like,
Hybrid health.
So they make it not rare anymore. And that's just a
But the idea is like if you have enough currency to buy it
Favor.
all, then you could resell it at whatever price you want. That's
Right.
anyways. Like now
Yeah, I
we're
don't
talking
know.
about trade while we're looking at this review, and
That's fine. Talk about the game we're all playing,
it's your
or
guys'
most
fault.
of us.
I know, right? Okay. Do we move on to the next game? We're already at an hour and 10 minutes. So you guys are just like chatty Cathy's tonight.
Chatty Cathy's. We
That's a-
Superfuse
There you go, Aaron.
also got review bombed
2 years
this
ago.
week.
You see that down?
What did I miss?
That's
What?
my review right there. Eh,
Your
you just-
review?
Yeah, it was right there.
What?
It's too late now.
Yeah, you got off his review from 2 years ago.
Oh, was I?
Yep.
Yeah, it's right
Oh.
underneath mine.
Oh. It's because we're friends. An up-and-coming
Yeah.
It's the
ARPG with
left
some
side's the
great
front side.
play, fun, diverse classes, multiple end games on the horizon, all with fantastic set of developers hell-bent on making a fantastic game. Multiplayers around the corner. Around the corner.
2 years ago.
Around the
they were
corner.
talking about
Okay,
it back then.
this is hilarious.
2,153.9 hours
Corner.
in Steam alone.
Oh,
Over 1,000
that-
hours on their own client.
You wrote it. Give this gem a
Uh.
look. This comment is a gem. It's freaking a year and a half old. Multiplayers around the corner. I love that.
Because that's what they were. That was the chatter back then.
But spend the chatter. Still the chatter.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, it
Super Fuse. Dun dun dun.
They got review bombed, I think, in the same unfair way by a
Mhm.
bunch of people that are expecting a fully polished title.
Yeah, and this
You know-
game's got lots of little things to add in that aren't there.
I will
Yeah.
say
It just
that,
released into early access.
I
you know, Daft said something to me earlier that I was like, you know what? I 100% agree with this. You know, when you get in the ring, sometimes you only get one shot. When you get on The Price is Right, you better play your game right. Like,
But
Right.
that-
You know,
yeah.
when
yes,
they
he said
dropped
that.
early access, All the content creators on Twitter were talking about it. Zizarin's like, hey, I'm going to try this new game called Superfuse. Vulcan, all these big people are trying it and talking about it. And then what happens? It's buggy. Servers crash.
It's early access.
Tons of memory leaks with performance if you're using OBS or Streamlabs OBS. I can play this
Seems like
game.
that's the case.
I can play this game 4K max settings. Perfect.
Same.
I launch Streamlabs or OBS, I have to lower the settings to 720 to get it to rip a video because the connection between the two, you know, just doesn't work. And, you know, this is one of those games like, you know, think of, I start to imagine even thinking about like last Epoch day 1 early access.
Oh, God.
You know
the
what I
game
mean?
is so different now.
This is Superfuse day 2 of early access. But that being said, like it's not gotten a great reaction.
But that said, I've made 2 characters. I made one in the demo, that Sork, and then I made the Elementalist, and then I made a second one, but this time with the Elementalist, instead of like maining with Ice Spike is what I used, I think it was, and then I started skilling it, so it was multi-shotting and all this stuff, but it was like eating up tons of mana. This time I went around and actually used the Elementalist weapon as my main, at least early on, and then skilled into the Ice Tree again, but only passive, so I was getting defense, you know, freeze, chance, and all these other things. It actually played way better than the other one because the wrist shot thing, I forget they're called, the second one I found was like a machine gun, and it shoots these little like chainsaw looking things that fly out. It was wrecking things, like completely destroying things. And I was literally running up to groups of like 20. They would come up to me and I would just face tank it. Just sit there because I would hit a heal every once in a while. I had so much shield and just damage mitigation that I just sat there and just tanked everything. All the little like crab things that come at you and hit you pretty hard. The bully guys that rush you, those guys just sat there and tanked them all. So I was like, okay. So
I will say that
it's not finished, is what you're saying.
I will say I am personally a little frustrated with Superfuse, and it's nothing. I mean, this is like a total me only because I beat the demo, 3 different demos 3 times. And then they're like, hey, Aaron, would you like a copy of the game to get a head start to make some content? Sure. They give me a copy of the game. I drop a video. And then they said, hey, Aaron, we're going to be doing a full reset for day 1. Which is fine. I just wish they would have told me, because that would mean I'm starting a character for the 5th time. I was like, I cannot.
How many characters have you started in LE?
I can't go through a 5th time. Like I haven't even logged in since it dropped. And again, that's like a total like, oh, Aaron, you got to play it early. Like, woe is me. But anyways, I've been seeing all the server stuff. I know they've been working on it, and I was like, okay, I'm focused on getting this new Fire Necro build out for CT. So that's been my focus of my gameplay. That being said, I've been talking about Superfuse from like the announcement date of this Borderlands comic book style visuals with multiplayer, built for PC, not a mobile port, and it has a full, I don't like, literally there's something so refreshing about like, oh, you don't have an item, I drop it on the ground and Guilty can go and pick it up.
Pick it up. Right.
It's
just like Grim Dawn, the way it should be.
Just like D2. Like, so it's just so refreshing. Oh, you don't have this fuse? Here, take it. Like
you drop a teleport.
You're not trying to handicap the player by like controlling what they make a dynamic out of your mechanic.
My favorite, Aaron, right now is you drop a teleport, you walk into it, you go use your teleport, you sell your things, and then you step back in the teleport and you're where you were.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah, last Epoch doesn't have a town portal.
So I just noticed 7.4 hours on record. They're not recommending it because the game that is early access is way too incomplete.
Right now it has a 54% on 400 ratings on Steam. Another kind of weird thing, the price of the game dropped the day of early access. I know that sounds like not like
that's
I have been
it's on sale, but it's not on sale. It's like, oh, the real price is $24, but you can buy it for $15 today, and the price is really $15.
I've probably been asked maybe 100 times, hey, how much is the game? And I'm like, I don't know, $20 probably. Like that would be my guess. Like $19.99 is my guess, and it's 25. We found out the day it launched. Okay. Superfuse.
Superfuse got review bombed by a bunch of people that played it less than 20 hours, and I haven't found one review that's negative that is actually over 20 hours. Here's one at 3.7. Here's one at 9. This is junk.
I don't know if I'm the only person. I know I'm not the only person that does this, but even when I'm searching for anything online, whether it's Amazon or wherever I'm buying something, I only read the bad reviews. I don't know if anybody else does that.
Yeah.
I literally don't care what anybody says that's good. Like, tell me why you didn't like it.
I do that sometimes, depending on the item, just to see if you're complaining, this is what you're complaining about. Like you're saying, if you love it, you're not going to mention things. So
this is a perfect,
there is something
this is a perfect, terrible take us off base tangent, is that me and my wife purchased a shed for our backyard that came in 500 pieces, and all the reviews were positive, but there was like 3 reviews that said one of the doors, it has a hard time staying on its track. And right now, that door is off the track on my freaking shed.
Question. Aaron, who put it together?
We put it together.
So she should have did it alone, and the door would have been fine.
Yeah.
Dude, it's freaking so agitating. And I think about it like, dude, this thing had like an 80-90% review. The only few bad reviews were saying that the right side door doesn't stay on the track. And the right side door doesn't stay on the track. Like, they were correct.
It's because Aaron doesn't know how to put stuff together, and he clearly put the right door on. That's clear. Also, Denali, yes, only leave good reviews, and
you stop playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be clear, too, I worked retail for 19 years, actually 20 years if you count my job when I was 16. Anyways, I've never been that person that's like, can I talk to the manager? You're right. I'll just walk out and not go back to the store. Like, that is
right. Vote with your wallet, not with your mouth.
Yeah. For games like this. Yeah. If it's a finished game, I guess.
Yeah. These aren't finished games.
These are,
like, people are expecting this to be like finished and like have the most robust Star Citizen system ever. Like, no.
Hey, you know what has positive
early access?
You know what has positive recent reviews? Wolcen Lords of Mayhem.
Oh,
it is now a more complete game.
All roads.
And yes, I am going to re-download it and play it again.
Are you?
I am.
It's been a minute since I think I have to look.
The last time we played, you and Aaron ran me through the entire campaign.
Probably.
Like in a sitting.
Oh, we have somebody that's famous. Look, first time chat. Dude, this is a serious review you put in here, Comey.
Oh, wow, pros. God.
That is a breakdown. Oh, my God. Okay.
Guilty, you take it.
Oh, boy.
Now you're really going to be famous.
I'll read the pros. The art style is something different and fresh. Thematically, it's nice to get away from the dark fantasy that rules the ARPG genre. Character customization, the combo of skill tree and fuses makes a terrific build diversity. Looking forward to how this continues to develop. And that is where I will agree with you 100%. Everything else, I can't, because it's a game that just released into early development. Now, should it have? That's not for me to decide.
Right.
A title I'm working on currently is not, because I don't want that to happen. So
Button Smash University, I agree. I looked at my last install of Wolcen. It's October 16th, 2021. It's been a little while. I have almost 300 hours on it, so that was all in March. Like that first month.
Oh,
I think I play a little bit afterwards, but not much.
He says gear is boring and uninspired, also tends to drop far below character level the majority of the time. So that's stuff that they will fix as they go through. Right now, I think they don't even have all the classes. They're probably still working on them like some other game we know. No loot filter that they can fix. No auto pickup that they can fix. Inventory space is very limited, also fixable. All those things I'm going to assume will be fixed as they go through development. I think what they did is they had 2 to test with a third they were working on. Now that they have the 3, they're probably still working on the last class and everything that you mentioned.
I will say the last bullet point is pretty spot on. The worst feature by far is the potion system. If you enjoy endless spamming health and mana pots to stay alive, then this is the game for you. After each pack, you get to collect charges dropped by enemies one at a time, so you can do it all over again. They definitely need
It's a PoE system.
Some kind of auto loot for sure, at least for charges or something like that.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Overall, I see potential here, but it's a long way to go. Devs have already patched some issues after 1 day of feedback. So hopefully they continue to listen to the concerns of their player base, and implement some much needed improvements.
Walker's correct. It's like PoE, but the flasks don't recharge unless you manually pick up an item.
I love inventory Tetris. I know that's like a lot of people
like
don't.
that.
A lot of people are like,
I'm fine with it as long as you have an auto sort to at least quickly fix it, and then you can go back.
Yeah, like Grim Dawn. We've got PoE. We've got 2R. So I every now and then I entertain re-downloading D2R,
I played it the other week.
but my malice prevents me.
you don't have time for that.
I don't. I have other games to play that don't make me upset.
When I play games like that, it's because I'm burnt out on the others, and I'm gonna play I'll play D2R. I'll go to Nexus mods and download all these cool mods that make the game more
Right.
just modern feeling, and then play it for probably a day or two. Then I stop.
Button Smash University is 100% correct. Grim Dawn is so underrated. It is the best ARPG.
Comey
Grim?
Kicker says no auto sort. I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta go ahead and
Giving
do it.
him
Go ahead and
ideas.
Go ahead and in.
We were reading his.
You know what though? If they
Ought to look familiar.
took the negative reviews, like he had a bullet point list essentially, and they could go through that and
See?
you're
Right
like,
there,
okay,
Aaron.
we have that
Comic
one. Oh, that one's new. Put that on the list, and they can fix stuff. So it's not entirely bad, but some of these people are like playing 7 hours and are like, no, don't play this. It's like,
After they played polished game and they come and play something else, and it just feels bad, like it should,
Yeah.
because that's
you did list out some like critiques that people might expect. So
yeah.
also your pros were spot on. It has all those.
But
things,
again,
which is why I'm
like
still going to.
Daft said, which is
eye
a
on
good
it.
point. They're marketing hard. They're all over Twitter. They're all over social media. They are pushing. Try this. Get it.
Yeah.
Early access day one. Like
Mhm.
they probably maybe paid some streamers to play it. Like they were.
You
full,
don't say.
They were full court pressing. So if they, when it's your time in the ring, you're in the Royal Rumble. You gotta.
And you're only as good as you're going to be compared to whatever X player played prior to this, right? That's what they're comparing it to, because that's probably what they dig, and they come try out your game, and if it has some shortcomings, like items don't have, you have to look, it says coming soon, anything like that's going to feel unpolished. There's a lot of like lag issues and movement issues you could point out,
And I hate to bring this up because then I got to get guilty going on this crazy rant. But
Is it crazy?
Yeah, you're already. It's an MMO. Knowing that D4 is coming out.
It's an MMO. It's not crazy rant.
Well,
Thing, not comparable.
the
Let's
thing.
move on. Let's move on from things that are going to be complete trash.
Knowing that dropping any form of isometric ARPG right now in 4 months, you're going to be
It's an
competing
MMP.
with D4.
Oh,
You better have some polish on that.
So we've got Walker with ARPG MMO, which, okay, I'll give it that. If you want to make a new category, I'm cool with that. New category of game. That's where it fits.
It's an AR MMO RPG. It's like you don't even know what it is.
It is going to take a lot of money from a lot of people.
It's
What
going to take a
subgenre
lot of money.
Of subgenre are you playing? That's where it is.
Isn't it like
It's too many genres now.
you could just name it whatever. They put all these tags. Most of the time when you look at Steam, it'll say Rogue, Light, Rogue, Like, Rogue, MMO, ARPG, RPG. They just put as many tags as possible so that when people search, it pulls up their game.
Pulls it up, yeah.
Fantasy,
it's an action game,
violent,
ARPG.
action RPG, RPG, all of the things. Christmas tree lights.
ARPG, MMO equals Lost Ark. D4 is
They-
yes, E-Way. Yes, it does.
The game we all played
D4
last year together.
will be like
40% of
Lost
my
Ark
life last year.
without the horrible honing and without the
Honing.
The
without
honing actually was terrible
I also
I still have
believe
nightmares.
later on in the game.
Yeah.
that the female models will look different in D4.
Wait, they're not going to look like crazy cat ladies?
I
Bunny
don't
rabbit
think
ladies? No,
you're
bunny-
going to have
That's
What's
14.
furry?
FF14's yeah.
I don't
Bunnies
think you're
are
going to have
14.
bikini armor. I don't know. Maybe as an MTF.
No, so
No.
the armor is their tough skin from being in the suntan. The sun tanning has
Right.
hardened their skin, so they don't have to wear the armor. They're just
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
their skin is
Exactly.
tougher from them dealing with all the sexism, you know.
that too.
Well,
Do you
D4
think
won't get review
you know
bombed
what?
because it's not on Steam.
Should we
They're
start
safe.
wearing bikinis? I think we should. Like, we'll wear the bikinis and see if everyone's okay with that.
D4 will not get review bombed, you're right, because it's not on Steam, and it won't matter.
Right,
It's gonna send
right.
sell. It's gonna sell 10 million copies before the game releases through early access. It's gonna be.
Right.
It's
Wonder
gonna
if
be.
that number will be
huge.
released. Number of pre-sales for Diablo 4.
It will be
Mankinis.
released. It will be released if it is a number that is good for Blizzard. So if Blizzard's like, dude, we have 10 million pre-orders, people like getting on
Post
the
that.
bandwagon, right?
Yeah,
so it's
post
like,
that. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, they're like, look at how many we sold.
The Denali with the mankinis.
I'm gonna
Mankinis,
guess
man.
that 95% of the people watching this stream will buy D4. Probably 100.
yeah,
It's pro-
you know,
actually,
I'm not
it's probably
mad about it.
100%. It's probably 100%.
Well,
Mm,
I know a few that won't.
I bet you 50% have already pre-ordered it right now.
If-
That I believe.
if Aaron gifts me the pre-early, then I'll have it early. But if not, I will be getting it
They-
after.
We're not going to buy it, but we ain't going to say we're not going to play it.
Right.
I'm for sure gonna get it.
Definitely
And I'm
not giving them any money, though.
Well, you got to buy the wings. Like, what? You're not gonna have
I
I can
wings?
get wings in games I already have. I have wings in other games.
I will say,
it's-
like, as
it's
much as I
D4
dislike
safe.
Blizzard, what I've seen from their version of Necromancer, it seems like it's gonna be a fun Necro. So take that.
themes, keyword, famous last words.
He goes and plays it and realizes that it's the most broken AI he's ever used in his entire life.
They're
he
not
actually-
good.
I like
they
the
suck.
idea. I like the idea of having like a big army and then going into the PvP field and just sitting in the corner right off the map and just keep spamming minions that go in and fight. I don't know. I've got this idea. It's probably going to be stupid. I'm going to get wrecked. But anyways, that's my idea. You know, because I don't play the game. I let the AI play for me, guilty. So it doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was. Yes, correct. Railth, not paying for D4 till we see it in the market. Smart, very smart, man.
Yeah, that's probably my angle.
So
Aaron
Shandy
will
already
play it.
bought
I'll see what he's
D4.
done. Yeah, there's a couple people in here.
Button
Bad
Smash has
Spaz
got it.
as well. Bad
You
Spaz.
guys
Oh,
remember? You guys remember
wow.
Hoser? Hoser said he would give $1,000 to get it right now. Do you
He
remember?
did.
Hoser.
He
Yes.
He did say that, and I don't think he was joking.
But you know.
I am required to get it. So, you know.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. Not at all. Tim Pakakitsik. Tempakosik.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Tempakosik.
Sorry.
Third from bottom.
Yeah,
Fourth from
D3 was pretty bad. Daft has a funny D3 story.
What's that?
The
I
one
mean,
where you
that-
quit playing it.
Oh well, yeah. I haven't played D3 since 2013.
How long did you play it for? It was on
like-
disc still.
I had it on disc. It was like I played for about 5 days,
And then gave it away.
roughly 30. Yeah, I gave it to my
Yeah.
son.
Yeah.
And he played it years later. He liked his was it the Witch Doctor? I think the class it is. I just never. Maybe we see it in Discord all the time. People, I guess there's
You see
an
this?
update coming up.
Comment from In You Must Go. If you want to speak with authority on what LE is better, on that LE is better, you should probably get it. See? How can I compare LE to D4 if I don't play it?
So here's how you compare the two. One's an ARPG and one's an MMO.
I am going to get asked 500 times a day my thoughts on D4. I am going to have to buy it.
That leaves a bad taste in my mouth knowing that you have that on your shoulders. Because
Yeah.
I could just be like, no, I don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
My channel name is Action RPG. This is the
And it's an MMO.
It's still
Not
the
Diablo 4.
quintessential. It
It's
is-
an MMO. They done ruined it.
It is literally going to be like the game of the decade, probably from a sales standpoint.
Sure.
Well, I mean, until the next one.
I mean, I love the. It's not a hate Diablo thing. I actually really like Diablo 2. Played Diablo 1 on PlayStation back in the day. It just lost its way for me. I don't know where it's going now with mounts. But
Mounts
you know.
in an ARPG? Why? Why?
But hey, you know,
You
lost
guys,
art. You know?
mounts are in it to sell MTX. No
Oh, yeah,
of course.
other
Give
reason.
me
Of course.
money.
Or I guess maybe
Buy
as a
the polka
reward
dot
for winning
horse.
a season or whatever.
Buy
what do
the
they
purple horse.
what do they call in what's Diablo's seasons? Are they called
I
seasons?
don't even. What are they calling them now? In D4, do you know?
What is
Or
it?
their seasons in
They're
They're
D3.
seasons.
yeah.
Yeah, they're seasons.
Okay,
In D4,
Probably.
Seasons.
it's
I
gonna
would
be
assume.
okay. So it's gonna be
Seasons.
seasons. Okay.
Yeah, seasons. The game with the most sales is probably going to be Harry Potter. Way more reach and interest. No way.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
no, like
it's
they
a
got all the
large
gamers
group.
that want to play it, plus all the people who read the books that have never played.
Yeah,
the game.
like
No way.
you know, I mean, you could-
Hogwarts Legacy will have good sales. It will not
Yeah.
beat D4. No
I
way.
bet it'll be
it's
better-
a different class of game.
I
though.
bet it's a
like,
better game and a better MMO or whatever it is. I bet it's more enjoyable than D4.
I mean, it'll have good sales. I'm not
going to play it personally because I don't have time for that. But
and
like,
Hogwarts Legacy is a single player game, and I could see
Yeah.
it being like a Game Pass game in the future, you know, but
right.
you're talking
Oh,
about
so it's like Skyrim.
yes, this is going to be
Yeah.
Diablo will be launching on console. It'll be launching on PC. It could cross multiple generations of gamers, young and old. You could play it on console and PC, and it
Are they
is
going on
D4.
phone?
No, it's not going
Well,
mobile.
how long ago were we seeing the leaks from people who played that were like D4 is pretty boring and I hate it? How long ago was that? Like a month or two? They're like, it's pretty boring. Don't like it very much. Not that
Hogwarts
good.
will outsell D4 through DLCs. No way. You're tripping. D4 is going to be MTX. Login. Did you get your horse?
Oh,
Yeah.
do they
Did
have
you get
You know,
the purple horse, the polka
Do
dot
we-
horse,
do
the
we know
fire
if we
breathing
have,
horse, the smoke
daily? Is there
smoking
daily?
horse, whatever. The
Are
camel.
they doing the
You wanna ride a
dailies?
camel?
It's going to be daily,
D4?
weekly, and monthly logins. It's going to be
Oh.
multiple battle passes. It is going
Skeleton
to
horse.
be seasons. It is
Black
going
horse.
to be an ongoing MTX shop. It is going to be endless
Oh,
garbage.
motorcycle, because you know they got the World of Warcraft motorcycle. That's got to go in D4 now. You wanna
And
ride the
Diablo,
motorcycle?
I
That's
don't think
happening.
I
That's
don't
money.
think they're gonna hold their MTX to lore, right? So you're right.
Oh.
Get the unicorn, whatever, you know, like
Right.
Get a whale so your friends can ride
Yeah.
on the mount with you.
you gotta get your footsteps. You got your glowy footsteps, and people buy mouse. Are they gonna do mouse cursors like PoE did? Ooh,
Oh, of course the whole thing.
that's the worst.
They're not.
I made a video. I made a video on PoE mouse cursors.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I was like, you can't be. It's
remember
like when
that.
Call of Duty sold like the red dot for the aimer or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
Flenzer, it is not 4 days. It's up to 4 days. They even state in their up to portion that they don't have to give you 4 days early access. It says up to 4 days.
They
early
probably
access.
will though, because that would be.
They
like,
probably will,
They'll just
but
be
the
serious.
legalese in there says up to.
Mounts is deep. I'm not. Gosh, it's like I know I made this YouTube channel because of my love for D2, and in my heart, it's like, man, I hope D4 is good. And everything I read and everything I see, and it's like,
I mean, those people who reviewed it and leaked it out and said they didn't like it.
it's like, man, it's just, yeah, I'm just not super excited. I'm more excited for LE 1.0 than D4, which sounds crazy, but yeah.
It doesn't sound crazy. One is a game that's trying to prove itself, and Diablo is just old grandpa who's been around for like 70
Coasting.
years making.
It's coasting on
Diablo
name
games.
wreck.
I know.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Christina.
What have others done? Hey,
Christina
Nina.
said, how's it going?
That's true. It's not even out yet, although we have seen the testing. And in its current iteration, not all, but some of the testers have stated that it was boring and repetitive and they did not like it.
I have watched every single leaked gameplay and everything that has been put out on D4, including covering every single quarterly update since they started doing quarterly
You
updates.
got flagged.
And I got a community and I got a channel strike from Blizzard for posting.
did.
Damn you, frickin'
We were like,
Blizzard.
stop, don't, no.
So you're right. I have not played D4. I feel like I have a really good grasp of what the game is going to be like, and it could be fun.
Sure.
Um,
Surrounded by monetization, though, and that's the part that's scary.
Oh,
that's the
that's-
part that throws me off of Torchlight. Is there's this. Oh, it's not in your face, but it's just there daily, and you have
you know
to
what
deal with
Torchlight
it.
needs?
Ooh.
There's the
Yeah.
stupid
I
box
still
that
like
says
it.
if you
I
check
played
this box, you won't see it
Yeah.
again. And guess what?
And then it
every time
does
you log
itself
in,
every time you
it
relog
pops
in.
up again. So if
They
it's
need
like
to fix
the
that.
worst.
because if it's like,
They
hey, we're
could.
releasing a new MTX, here's the flyer for it. If you don't want to see this again, check it. If that actually worked, I'm totally cool. Advertise to me a singular time
Oh.
your new thing, and then get rid of it.
Okay, so E-Way, there's two. E-Way,
Yeah.
the first, as long as no class is money locked, and that would be absolutely terrible. I do have some other wants from it than that, but that's a big one. It's a good call. And the Denali, I see a ton of people on Twitch, mainly who are really looking forward to D4, but nobody I know that enjoys D2 has said a good thing about it, because they're not
They're very
the same
different.
type of game.
Yeah.
You should be pointing out the bad PR that LE has. One of the worst
we did.
game PRs I've ever seen, but you guys keep praising the game. Oh, we did. Not only did we talk about
Yeah. we've talked
the
about
decisions they made on this podcast, we brought on the last Epoch 11th Hour Games
Steve.
director of marketing to
Yeah.
talk through
Pinpointed
some
questions.
tough conversations. Literally,
Yeah.
the person in charge
yeah.
of the PR was on this podcast answering questions.
So Vikin79, you can go watch that podcast. If
That's
it's in
actually-
the pods.
It's on YouTube. It's on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. So
Yeah.
You
look it
will
up.
find it'll be hard to find
About
a
2 months ago.
more harsh critique of their decisions. It'll be hard. Like, these guys, really nice to them, and I am too. I'm just I've been very harsh on certain decisions, and when we asked him, he was very blunt in his answers. He doesn't really lie. If it's a no, it's a no, even if you don't
Yeah.
like it. So it's a good watch. He has some good things to say.
I
guilty,
will-
Steve.
guilty. Don't read what Raven Crow wrote. Don't read it.
I will say though about
Ravencrow's
11th
right.
Hour Games, yeah, they have generally actually been really good with communication.
Yeah.
Not too long
yeah.
ago, things changed a little bit because their team grew to about 100, and other companies got investments in the game, and things changed a little bit. So what I will critique on them is how they've introduced concept that they're still considering. They might have leaked some of that too early before they actually knew what they should have said. So trade being one of those things. So that's where I will critique them. They've sometimes gotten a little too excited about some concept they had and talked to us about it a little too early. That's why everybody was butthurt back in November.
That's typically Daft and I's stance on the entire issue.
Yeah.
What's the YouTube link for the podcast?
I will look it up and get it to you.
I have the on Action RPG. There's a This Week in Action podcast
little group
playlist, so you can pull it through the playlist.
That's how I do it, sir.
Yep.
I know.
The video, what was that? 2 months ago now? Maybe a month and a half. We did that one.
Month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what's really hard, Daft, is that we have been around long enough playing the game that we have seen the really, really, really good 11th hour games and how they have showed up for the community and how they are dropping content patches bigger than AAA games. And then it just sucks that this last year, like, I think they openly admit to dropping the ball with not dropping 086 and focusing on multiplayer over masteries and it being way harder than they expected. And they hired Steve as a marketing director for the studio because they knew that they were
dropping the ball.
They weren't good at it.
They needed to focus.
He's better at it than they are.
And it is something weirdly refreshing when a studio's like, hey,
our bad.
We screwed up. Our bad. This is what we're doing to fix it. You know, like I'm more okay with that.
So that last link I posted is it.
That's the link, guys. Yep.
And confirming 09 100% in 2022. Yeah, that was bad when Judd on Zizarin streams. Like,
that's.
I mean, this is like talking about. This is like such semantics, but like multiple people from EHG is like Judd didn't confirm 2022. He said they're shooting for 2022.
That was technically true though.
I mean, I know, but obviously everyone's going to be like, dude, the game corrector's saying 2022.
Right.
I mean, he didn't say 2022. He said we're aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
But he probably could have said it a little
better.
But
that is the exact reason why.
Yeah.
We didn't do a Kickstarter. We didn't do anything early access because if you say we're shooting for, people expect you to do it by then.
When you're on Zizarin streaming to 500 people and you're the game director, you're the CEO, and someone's like, when is it going to drop? And this is in September. And they say shooting for this year. That should, I mean, that's a pretty, I took that as like,
we're hoping. And you took it wrong.
I took it as it's coming
for that.
Like it's coming this year. Like
that's not what he said.
That's definitive to me. That's
interpretation is not his problem. I guess it is his problem.
Assumption is the mother of all. Never mind.
Yeah. Yep. No, he specifically said we're shooting. He never guaranteed it.
He did say we're shooting for 2022. But I am aware. I've watched it 100 times.
I saw a comment in Discord today of someone saying it was about Superfuse, and they're like, I knew it was an early access, but I didn't know it was this version of early access. I'm like, but what does that even mean? Early access is early access, this version. So I think people, the idea of what beta, alpha, early access is just wordplay these days, and devs will use that to get you excited at different points of the game, but not everybody actually understands what they really do mean. So that's part of it.
Some games are early access for 5 years. Some games are forever early access. They never leave early access. So maybe they thought it was this is a completed game. Like Torchlight Season 1 was early access, and I thought it was fully launched. But I guess
El Chialde, that's yes, people expect completed games for early access versions of games, and they shouldn't, but they do.
But they throw around beta and alpha, so people, I've been around games for a long time. I understand the differences. I did beta for like World of Warcraft way back in the early, time. So that was where you had to sign in. You had to go to the stupid forums and like, I know how to play video games and I've been playing games. And then you had to get hired, basically, right? You had to
back
get
in
in
those
there.
days, yes.
Yeah.
PoE was early
Now
access
they're
for
like,
everyone.
you
Yeah.
get a key and you get a key, like Oprah. we
Okay.
were talking earlier.
See, this is supposed to be a 90-minute podcast. You bring up Last Epoch, and then
All goes.
I'll read the
Well.
last comment from Bad Spaz, because I like ending things on a positive note. I mean, come on. Ellie is amazing. They gave us a really good game already. The fact we're getting all of this out and it's still awesome. That said, I'm very proud of them for asking for help where needed.
Also true.
That's what you do.
But
And you know what? And
They
to
did
what
that the
everybody
entire
says,
time.
like you all know that I am an 11th Hour game fanboy. I'm okay openly admitting
Yes.
that. It's a game I've made 350 YouTube videos on. I've made 48
Yeah.
build guides. I really enjoy the game. And on top of that, I really enjoy the studio. And I do polls for them and I give them information and I try to give them the best.
Watch their
data I
Friday
can.
videos.
And I do the dev chat
How
series.
many are you on now for Dev Chat?
Dev chat
Like
80,
almost 90.
82. I think, no, I just posted 83.
That's some serious dedication.
By the way, Mike promised me something special for 100. So
Eddie.
I better come on
We'll
live
see.
for 100. That's my hope. But
Well, next week, speaking 100, is 1 year of us doing this. So
I know.
it's,
I know.
time flies, brothers.
Yeah, one
Time
year.
flies.
Whereas Aaron might not have been able to make 2 of them, there has been an episode every week for essentially 1 year. So
That's true.
Yep.
But to end my point, even though I am a fanboy of EHG, I have given them all my opinion on trade, because I do think trade should be in the game. And not because I feel like I really need trade to be successful in the game, but I know in the current market, if you are trying
Yeah.
to compete against PoE, PoE2, trying to compete against D2, D2R, D3,
Right.
D4,
names.
you're trying to compete against Grim Dawn and Superfuse and Torchlight Infinite and Undecember, and you're going against Martyr Inquisitor, and you're going against any other game
Right.
that has seasonal cycle league content, including future games, not
Right.
having trade is going to always put you into a niche market. It is always going to put you into that more solo self-found style of game, which is fine, but I don't think that's what they want for Last Epoch. They want to compete with the big boys, and they don't have the name recognition of Diablo to be able to do what they did in D3. So I want them to have trade because people expect it, and they said they were going to do it. So that's my piece.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
they will. I
Yeah.
think it's not released yet, and the backlash. Every time there has been any form of backlash, they have done something.
Inyo Mutsuko. What terminology was used
in
before
you must
PoE?
go. In you
Yeah.
must go.
I see.
In you must go.
Yeah. Before, well, I mean, since it's always been a action art role playing game, so ARPG. Since Grim Dawn had that, Grim Dawn and Path of Exile released roughly at the same time, 2013, exactly when I left Diablo 3. Then there were some other things, but I think ARPG's been around since at least that point. I don't know about before that. You know, D2. I don't know if it
I
existed.
said we
at
were
that
going to
point.
end with the positive comment, and you guys.
That is a positive.
You
That
guys
was
just-
positive.
He said, "In
Now
you
there's-
must go."
Now
That's
there's
pretty
more.
positive. It
Now
makes
there's
me
more
happy.
people chatting. Okay, listen.
That's good.
Now I have to
We
be
like
clear. Last Epoch, in my opinion, does need a form of trade to grow as a game. Okay, grow in popularity among streamer, grow in communities, get people more bought in for it. It does
Mhm.
not need
Rich.
a PoE style player driven
It's true.
economy. I have said it over. I've told every single member of EHG that I know that what they should do is they want to introduce a guild system. They are going to call it clans. And what they should do is have clan trade. You join a clan. You can only join a clan once a month or once every couple weeks, so you can't jump clans. And amongst your clan, you can trade. That's not
Yeah.
a player-driven economy. That's not a trade house. That's not an auction house. That's not a
It's
anything. You could
yeah,
still
it's-
trade amongst party members when you find
So-
something, And then those people that are your closest gaming community, you can actively trade with. It takes care of not needing third party, and it takes care of the community because you've given them trade. Done. That's my idea.
Here's my idea. Unrestricted trade.
It's never going to happen. And again,
Just the most intelligent thing they could do.
listen, I hear what you're saying, but I like talking about things that I know are actually possible, and they have come out and said that that is not going to ever be a possibility. So,
Well, I will send them some books, and they can read these books, and they can get back to us.
Good plan. Good plan. Good
They're not
chat
going to
too.
read the books. They won't read the books.
just let people trade, and if they don't want to trade, just don't trade. Man, this
Oh, no,
conversation. We could
like,
literally
unrestricted
talk about
trade. Look
last
at that.
Epoch.
Trade.
From the mouth
We could talk about it forever.
I mean, yes,
EHG
it's LX
EHG
hacks.
doesn't want any form of third-party sites. They don't want
Yeah,
a third-party
LV.
site for trade.
So that's where they mind their own business
I think they
and
worry
let
about
people
game
do
balance
what they want.
when it comes to
That
the
won't
trade.
ruin game balance.
It won't, but I think that's the fear. And then they have to do the PoE thing where everything gets like 1 week, it's like flavor of the month, and then they wreck that class because it's
What's the
OP,
worst
and then
thing? Oh my God,
Ah.
they're playing our game and having fun. Oh no.
I know. I get that part too.
I know,
I won't care about it.
I know.
I'll be trading with you guys if it's gifting because we're grouping, or if they do the guild thing. I won't even worry about the other players because it's just not how I play the game. But there are other ways to do it, and I'm sure they'll come to something eventually.
I throw out the clan trade idea
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's something that could possibly really happen. If I had to pick, and I could pick anything, like Aaron,
Yep.
The floor is yours. What would you like? I would like a more advanced Torchlight Infinite trade house, where I don't have to ping somebody and then hope that they respond and then meet them in their friggin' area and then trade. So
Oh,
Cleanser?
you,
Yes.
they're trying to protect people from themselves because 80% of the people are stupid and will get scammed by third-party sites. That's not a scam if you get joy out of it, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That
Like
is a
if
way-
you get joy out of the thing you paid for, that's what you're paying for.
I guess that's true. And that'll do it. Officially the longest This Week in Action
What?
podcast 51. We are at 1 hour and 53 minutes.
54 minutes.
24 minutes overtime.
Oh no.
I always tell these
Close
guys,
everything.
we'll chat and I'll be like, dude, we could just talk about Last Epoch the whole time. And they're like, what can we possibly say more? And then this conversation, I could go for another hour just talking about this.
I could spout things about free economies for another hour. You're correct.
Yes, we
LV,
could
I know you say
go on
keep
forever.
going, and I would love to do that. But what we do now is we are moving over to our bonus hour segment, which is for Patreons only. And all you Patreons out there, we truly do appreciate you. We picked up 3 more this week. All the likes, all the shares, all the comments, all the
Yep.
views, all the interactions. I literally can't say thank you enough to everybody. If you ever want to take it one step further, check out the Patreon. Daft is putting it in the chat right now. We have our VIP section where you could stream with me, where you can chat with us, where you
Oh,
could
that.
talk, chance to win custom merch. It is the best place. Yes, it is pay
Yes.
to
We lose.
lose.
Rich. Also, Flenser has a good point. Eway makes me happy when he puts the emojis in.
And honestly, LV, I feel
Yes.
terribly sick. And
Yes, he has been under the weather for many weeks. So
dude, I've been so sick.
It's been 2
This is
months
pretty-
now, right?
No, it's
Not
been
quite-
like
no, 1 month.
I'm
Almost
not
1 month.
tracking it, but it's been 28 days of sickness.
So it's a little taxing.
He's not
on Mr.
tracking
Aaron.
it though.
It's the Idaho potato air my body isn't used to.
It could be.
I know, it could
100%.
Like 2 months into living in Oklahoma, and
Of course
I
you were,
was
Albie.
never sicker. Like I've never been sicker than like living in a room with like people from all over the place. And your kids go to 3 different schools, so there's 3 different sets of germs.
Including their
it's-
hobbies with church and all.
Oh.
And then I go to work and I work in
Mhm.
hospitals.
There are 85 friends that show up
Nah,
after
you'll be
school.
strong later. You'll be strong later, or you won't. It's fine.
Okay, first person to write in chat. Do we raid Milkman Al1, who's playing Last Epoch, or do we raid Mike 1UP playing Torchlight Infinite, who's part of Max Roll? Milkman playing Last Epoch or Mike 1UP playing Torchlight? Milkman,
Milkman.
it is.
You see that? They didn't
like
choose
that.
the guy attached to Max Roll. It's
Sorry,
magic.
Shammy. You were too slow. All right. Daphne, you get the final word, and we are out of here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, fun times. See you next week for the 1 year anniversary of this stuff. And yeah, thanks for coming out. Night.